Welcome to Your Music Saved Us, where two friends blast ourselves into the past to relive and recontextualize the alternative Christian music we grew up listening to in the 1990s. My name is Clifton. I'll be drinking your disco today. And joining me is Jay, who will be doing your go-go. Jay, how you doing?
I'm okay, Clifton. I don't know. We were just chatting briefly about the state of the world right now, and it's a lot, but I'm okay. I did enjoy listening to this album, so there's something.
Good.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is this album?
This is the Aunt Betty's 1996 self-titled debut album.
And I assume you'll get into more detail on that in a second.
Yeah, I was going to, and then I thought I'll wait till the actual part where I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, it's easy to find, I assume?
Yeah, it's on Spotify. It's easy to find. There's
Cool.
like one tiny issue with it on Spotify we'll talk about in a minute, but yes,
Yeah.
It is out there, easy to listen to.
What label did this come out on?
So this is a question I have. Some listener out there is going to know more than me. It's on East West, which is supposedly a major label, but supposedly they were signed to Elektra. So I don't know if East West was a division of Elektra or something weird like that, but I saw both
Elektra is
thrown around.
Elektra is a division of Warner.
Okay.
Warner Entertainment. Yeah.
So maybe East West is also... I don't know. It says East West on the CD, but I know they got signed to Elektra because I read that in multiple articles. So
yeah.
It's some major label. They've all been like, they've all gotten swapped up and like mixed around now, and they're all like conglomerate.
These days,
yeah, who knows? But it's on a major label, which is rare for. Well, we'll talk more about it.
Right, I think that's part of the story here. Okay, was this played in youth group?
No. Oh, I wish, but no.
Come on, I'm getting high. Okay. Well, no youth group. Is there preaching on this?
I mean, I don't think so. What do you think?
I didn't hear any preaching. I mean, there's stories.
Yeah, there's some stories, and there's a little bit of like, there is some actual self-reflection on actions and things in this, but I wouldn't really call it preaching. There's no one telling you to change. He might be feeling it on himself, but he's not preaching at anyone else.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Well, before we get into things, I want to take a moment here and remind everyone to visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute and get extended episodes. Also, over there we have bonus episodes, including recently a discussion on looming fascism, a discussion of the Pixies' Doolittle. I've prepped, or I am prepping an episode to talk about another album that I think will be pretty fun, and that's coming soon. So go over there, and thanks. That's basically just to help us pay the bills of hosting this podcast.
Yep.
Well, thank y'all, and Jay, tell us about the Aunt Betty's.
So, Aunt Betty's is Mike Knott's kind of big secular project. And if you don't know who Mike was, well, where to start? He was pretty integral to alternative Christian music. He had a couple different bands, most notably Lifesavers and Lifesavers Underground, or LSU, as they were called a lot. He released a bunch of solo records and also ran the early Christian alternative label Blonde Vinyl. Just for people that have been listening to this podcast, we have done 2 episodes on Mike Knott albums. Both actually were solo albums by him, and Rocket and a Bomb, his solo album that came out in 1994, so not long before this, was our 3rd episode, Clifton, almost 5 years ago. So
we haven't done any 3 episodes on anybody.
I know.
Except for Mike Knott now. Yeah.
It feels fitting though, because if you look at his discography, there's like 50 things. So it's,
Sure.
it's just going to happen.
There's still like 6 more on our list.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just, there's going to be more. Hope you guys stick around for it. We think it's fun. But anyway, the Aunt Betty's were basically like a slightly altered version of his band LSU that had recorded Grace Shaker. And this is an LSU album that came out in 94. And there was a Lifesavers, his other band, Huntington Beach album that I do want to do soon, that came out in 1995. And this is almost the same lineup as that.
And Lifesavers is more of a punk thing.
Yeah, that album especially. That's a fun one too, because it also has lyrics that you're like, how the hell did this get in a Christian bookstore? So we'll do that soon. But anyway, it's Mike Knott, guitar and vocals, Brian Doige, who's Mike's kind of longtime collaborator, playing bass and background vocals. A lot of times he would play guitar, but this album he's playing bass. Chuck Cummings, who's drummer, he's also in Dakota Motor Company. He's on drums. And Andrew Carter on lead guitar. And according to an essay on multibiome.com, which I'm going to be quoting from some on here, Brian Doige, he said, quote, Michael and I started talking about getting a record deal, another secular type deal. So Michael got a drummer, and I put an ad out and went through a ton of guitarists until we found Andrew Carter, and we started Aunt Betty's Ford. Okay, the band was originally called Aunt Betty's Ford. Their lead guitarist, again, Andrew Carter, they found through an ad. We'll talk more about his guitar playing. I wanted to jump ahead, but I've been wanting to do that a lot on this episode. We'll talk more about his guitar playing in a minute. But
good.
Anyway, Aunt Betty's played a lot of clubs around Hollywood, and they were making quite an impression. They also recorded some demos, with the first set coming out, I think, in like late 1994. So like 2 years before this gets released. They start getting interest from multiple labels. And I'm going back to that multi-biome essay again. Quote, Elektra made a last-minute offer and not signed with them. The contract gave him control of the recording budget and production. He recorded the album at the Green Room and co-produced the record with Gene Eugene. Thus, Knott was able to pay his debts with the Green Room. This also meant no one at Elektra had any skin in the game if the record didn't sell. Seizing control of the musical direction of the band was the punk rock thing to do, but maybe not the wisest business decision. So just to back up, and a lot of longtime listeners are going to know all these names and what we're talking about, but if you don't, to go backwards, give you a little bit more info on Mike and his connection to the Green Room. This is from an interview that Keith Giles did with Mike Knott back in 1998. And we'll have links to all this stuff, but it said Gene Eugene, quote, owns the Green Room, and he allows me to come in there when there's downtime and let me record demos or what have you. He's the only reason why I'm still alive and doing music right now, because of his studio and his willingness to let me use it whenever I need to. So I'm really sure Mike felt like he owed Gene at this point. And it's possible that he probably actually really did owe money to Gene, because I think he just went in there and recorded a bunch whenever there was downtime, and just hence why he has so many, releases. And so I think it was pretty cool that he used like that major label album money to just record at the Green Room and give it all back to Gene Eugene. And I think, we'll talk more about it in a minute, but I think this album sounds good. I can't figure out how long they spent recording, but I'm guessing because of the budget this time, it was quite a while. But this album doesn't come out until July 1996, which is, probably at this point, 2+ years after the Aunt Betty's had really started. And they'd already recorded, I think, 2 or 3 rounds of demos prior to this officially coming out.
Okay. There's a real feeling around Mike Knott to me of, this is how I make money, and the more things I put out there, the more more higher likelihood of paying my bills, kind of thing. I always get that feeling with Mike for some reason. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but that's just how it feels when you look at kind of his recording ethos and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Are we waiting till later to talk more about the guitarist?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's wait till we actually are talking about the music.
Good. Okay. Well, Jay, when did this album come into your life?
Clifton, around this time, I was already reading enough like zines or HM or I don't know, seven ball out then, whatever it was, but they'd already mentioning Mike had a solo project or had a secular project at Aunt Betty's. Mm-hmm. And so of course I'm curious. And I actually found it at a used record store in my home town. It had one of those promo stamps on it, so it was like clearly a cast off from a radio station.
Yeah.
So it might not have been until like late 96 or early 97 that I found it. But I was like, oh. And of course, even with the cover art at the time, with the woman with like the cigarette coming out of her mouth, this was not going to be something I would normally like obtain or listen to, but I knew who it was, and I'd seen the controversy around it enough that I was like, and so I picked it up for just a few bucks.
Cool. What controversy other than, do we want to talk about that now, or are we talking about later?
There was just the rumors at the time, and this is a fuzzy memory, but I think if I remember it best, was just it's a secular band and he says some bad words on the album. It's funny because to me, in some ways, I'm like, yes. I mean, with our vocabularies now, we wouldn't think about it, but like,
wait, I'm just trying to think back now.
At the time, yes, and we're going to get into that a little more. But yeah, and so what's funny is like I feel like they missed some of the other lyrical content completely, but
right.
But that was what I remember being the controversy is that it's secular and he cusses on it. So
yeah.
Which, of course, made me really intrigued to pick it up,
Ignore the dominatrix song. He says a bad word.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty great. Okay. What was your experience with it? Like, yeah.
I liked it, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you now. In my mind, I think this is my favorite Mike Knott release for me.
Yeah.
Just sonically, like I just think it's like great, straight ahead rock and roll. I think it's pretty hard not to like a lot of these songs, and so I liked it quite a bit. But it was also one that I kind of had to hide. I certainly couldn't blare it too loudly, so I enjoyed it, but kind of on my own.
Yeah. Even if you're going to do the thing where you fold the cover of it in such a way that the cover isn't what's showing,
yeah.
It's hard to find a spot in the album
right.
art that to put at the front that doesn't show.
Yeah, the album art's got all kinds of fun stuff. In fact, I kind of love the album art. That's actually grown on me a lot. And so, yeah, it was one of those I kind of hit a little bit, but
All right. Do you think it's played a role in your like musical love development type, anything like that?
Probably in ways I don't fully appreciate or understand. It is the album, like for instance, when we found out last year that Mike Knott died, it was the album I pulled out first and listened to. So it's definitely like maybe my go-to when I think of him. This is probably the first thing I pull out and listen to. Okay.
Well, have you listened to it over the years?
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely one I've revisited quite a bit because it's just kind of a fun listen.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to discuss before we dive in?
No, let's jump in.
Okay, let's do it. Our first song here is called Jesus, track 1.
Which I'll go ahead and tell you. I'm curious, and there's some, as they call them, knotheads out here that will know better than I, but I'm like wondering if this song actually, if he mentions Jesus more in this song than he has in any of his other songs ever, even on the Christian releases. I don't know, but
yeah.
Anyway, so one other thing I'm going to tell you, if you are listening to this album on Spotify, and I haven't checked Apple Music and those other things, it cuts off like the first, maybe second of this song. And I thought I was going crazy because I thought I remembered it differently. But luckily, Clifton has the album and could vouch that, yes, Spotify's wrong, not me. And so this song starts with a formula I've realized that he uses quite a bit on this album. That's him singing over acoustic guitar. And then a little bit later, we'll kind of get the full band to come in. But Clifton, let's just play the beginning of this because it's kind of a great start.
All right. And this is the album version, so we will start with the actual true start here, not the Spotify start.
Jesus, won't you help me find my way? Won't you send me some money in the mail? Jesus, won't you let me drink one more? It helps me to ignore how much I failed. I'm getting sick, getting ill, I'm getting tired, I'm getting fired, I'm getting killed, I'm getting chilled, I'm getting crazy, I'm getting lazy, I'm getting screwed, I'm getting used, I'm getting kicked, I'm getting tricked, I'm getting out, I'm getting...
Yeah, so you could see it changes quite a bit there. And this song kind of does that. It kind of goes back and forth with that. We kind of got the softer part, and then we get kind of loud, pretty aggressive at certain points in this song, actually, like almost yelling at a few points for him.
I think it's the most aggressive song on the album, yeah.
I think you're right. But then pulls back down and is really chill. It's kind of a weird mishmash in a way, but I think it mostly works.
And it's not really the soft, loud thing that's going on in the early 90s. You know, it's just, it's more of a, you know, and I think this is a classic kind of formula in rock and roll is to have, you know, the Pixies do this. And obviously they were doing it before, you know, this album, but like it's all through rock and roll where you can have a lead singer on acoustic guitar and you have someone on lead guitar and, you know, the rest of the band. But you know, and you're right, like he uses that kind of on this album where it's a lot of starting off with him doing the acoustic thing, you know. But it gets the quiet loud thing, but in a just like guy playing acoustic guitar and then joined by a band type way, not in a, you know, mumbled kind of a disaffected grunge type thing.
Yeah, it in a lot of ways, it feels like a lot of these songs were probably written on acoustic guitar first, and then adding in the rest of the band to kind of fill it out. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, so we got some back and forths here. I don't know, maybe if you just want to play from where you paused right there, there's a little bit more. He kind of lets he's about to let off the throttle a little bit. Like he builds, and then comes down a little bit, but not completely.
I could keep my family if you could just send me some money.
So that is kind of the formula on this song. We get the back and forth. You'll notice he kind of, like I said, lets off the throttle a little bit for that that part. It's still louder than the intro, but not as intense. And then he goes back in that next verse to the kind of the acoustic guitar, but this time we do have the full band behind him. Just a lot more quiet. You've got drums, you've got
the lead
bass.
guitar is not really in there, but
yeah. But then later on, which and I guess is about the bridge at about 2:16, we've got a guitar solo. And Clifton, I have to say, I'm excited. Sometimes we chat about albums before we do the thing, but we haven't really on this one. So I'm very curious your take on this album, because I know you're not always a fan of this. Like, and this album has a ton of guitar solos with Andrew Carter. Maybe we should play it, and then I'm curious, like, first, your take.
Okay. I was going to wait until a later song to talk about the lead guitar, but I'll do it now.
Okay. We can come back to it too. I'm sure we'll talk about it more than just once. So, yeah.
And this is one of the least offenders on the song, I guess. This is probably one of the songs where the lead guitar, I like it the best, honestly.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Brace yourselves, everyone.
Well, it's a very specific thing because and like this is the least offender, but overall on this over and over again on this album, I feel like the lead guitarist tends toward kind of just standard bluesy / 80s hair metal type shit, you know? And I hate to be like this, but we're in the fucking 90s now, you know? Like, let's put, if I can walk down 6th Street on a Tuesday night and hear the same fucking guitar solo, you haven't put enough effort into it, okay?
Okay.
So do something interesting. You know, I think that one of the notes I have later is kind of I've already compared this to the Pixies because we have a similar situation, right? In the Pixies, for the most part, Frank Black goes back and forth, you know, between acoustic guitar and Telecaster, but I think it's a very similar situation where he's writing a lot of these songs on acoustic guitar, you know,
Fair.
and kind of the rest of the band fills them out, and I think that's what's going on here as well, like you've pointed out. But like Joey with the Pixies does interesting things. He's not just pulling from kind of your standard everyday blues and, you know, I survived 80s hair metal kind of bullshit. And if they had a lead guitarist who was more in that vein, I'm not saying you have to be as good as Joey. Look, Joey's like a once-in-a-generation talent kind of thing, you know. But just someone who's doing a less typical type of thing, then I think this could have been a great album. But I don't think it's a great album. And I think it's the lead guitarist's fault.
Okay. All right. I see your point, and I don't completely agree, but I see it. And I will say one thing, though, that does support it is I do think this would have done better had it come out a couple years earlier.
Yeah.
Like, earlier when they formed. I'm not sure that's all
Maybe.
their fault, you know, but like, yeah.
It may have done better in 92, you know, but...
Right. I mean, sure. Yeah, and on that part we just listened to, that guitar solo was kind of following the melody a little more, like kind of copying.
Which is one of the reasons it's less of an offender. Like, okay, once again, to go back to the Pixies, one of the things that makes Joey's guitars so amazing on the Pixies is that you can sing them, right?
Yeah.
And you can sing this because it's just following the vocal melody, and that's great. But it's just following the vocal melody. It's not adding anything to the song.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move ahead just, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. I want to play out just the very end of the song where he gets really loud, because I think it's kind of fun to hear. I actually think this song leads really well into the next song. Not every song on this album does this, but this one does. So just kind of hear how this one ends before we go into the next one.
I'm getting chilled, I'm getting lazy, I'm getting crazy, I'm getting screwed, I'm getting used, I'm getting kicked, I'm getting tricked, I'm getting out, getting out, getting out, getting out, I'm 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 getting out.
So I think it might be the most times he's ever said Jesus in a song. It also is probably the most he's ever screamed in a song.
Yeah.
You know, and so really aggressive right there at the end.
Yeah. And I like that, honestly. I think it works well. It's not what I was expecting from the album, so that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It also feels pretty layered there with the screaming, the vocals. Again, I think this album sounds really good. In fact, I didn't realize until we were preparing for this that it was recorded at the Green Room. This is nothing against the Green Room, but just normally albums there don't sound this good. They probably also don't have the budget this one had to like spend weeks recording it. I had always just assumed without paying attention that because this was a major label, it got recorded in like a major label studio or something. But anyway, so you find a lot of like layers of stuff on this album in places. There's definitely places where he's layered his vocals, and we'll get to it and stuff. But it sounds pretty full in a lot of places.
Yeah. I agree. I think you're right. Sonically, this album sounds great. Yeah, it sounds like a big budget, big studio album. I think.
Yeah. Which again is cool. I'm like very curious how much money Gene Eugene made on this album, which is great because it sounds like he and Mike were good friends and they did each other a lot of favors. So, you know, what a better way to use that major label money. So,
Right.
You want to talk lyrics?
Let's dive into the lyrics. Yeah.
I should say before we do much more that this is actually a reworked version of a song called Tonight off his album Fluid that I think also came out in 1995. It was recorded earlier, but got the whole blonde vinyl thing messed it up. And anyway, thank you to knotheads.com for that because they have a lot of info about him on there. But when I say reworked, it's heavily reworked. About the only thing that's consistent is the Jesus, won't you you know, and then like the rest is very, very different. So
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to read some of the lyrics?
Yeah, go ahead.
You heard some of it at the beginning, but it's Jesus, won't you help me find my way? Won't you send me some money in the mail? Jesus, won't you let me drink one more? It helps me to ignore how much I've failed. And then the pre-chorus that you heard, especially there at the end screaming, is I'm getting sick, getting ill, getting tired, getting fired. I'm getting killed, getting chilled, getting crazy. I'm getting lazy. I'm getting screwed. I'm getting used. I'm getting kicked. I'm getting tricked. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I'm getting high. I'm getting high. You know, that's the chorus and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like verse 2 helps explain what's going on here a little more. So he says, Jesus, I could keep my family if you could just send me some money in the mail. Jesus, I don't mean to complain, but it gets cold, it gets lonely inside a cell, which I feel like helps make sense of the part that I just read before of I'm getting sick, I'm getting all that, because he ends that both times with I'm getting out, I'm getting out, getting out, getting out, which I felt like was like, okay, I'm trying, I'm going to get out of here. But then he just says, I'm getting high, and that's how it ends. He does the screamy part again with all the stuff, but it's the same things we've read before.
I think the getting out has a double meaning there, right? Because it could mean getting out of this kind of druggy lifestyle, or it could mean I'm getting out of reality.
I took it as also like getting literally out of jail.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of the same metaphor or real, I don't know, right? Yeah.
Back in the day, I thought the I'm getting high part was just like shock value. It was like, oh, he can say whatever he wants to say because it's like secular. But now going back through it and really paying attention to the lyrics, it felt like the I'm getting high now was like, I'm giving up, kind of like Jesus, if you won't help me, I guess I'm just going to sit here and get high and try to escape for a bit. Mm-hmm. Is kind of how I took that.
I agree with you because I think, you know, it obviously is, you know, someone who's struggling, looking for help. And then, you know, I don't, you know, he goes through a lot of rhyming, you know, doublets here, whatever you want to call them. I'm getting sick, I'm getting ill, I'm getting tired, I'm getting fired, getting killed, chilled, crazy, lazy, screwed, used, kicked, and tricked. I think that is part of a, like, you know, part of the quote unquote abuse cycle here is that he's being abused, you know, by society.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that still honestly sadly has meaning today, you know, mm-hmm. Even more so. I think that we've seen more of a fracture in society where more people are working longer hours to try to survive, you know, where there was once a healthy middle class and this was kind of just reserved for the quote unquote poor. This is more and more people these days, you know, who are falling into this kind of, you know, working long hours, not getting much in return, barely pay the bills, you know, getting used, getting screwed, yeah. And so they're looking for an out. Yeah.
It's this album especially, I think it's a little hard to tell when he's speaking of himself or he's just creating characters, because a lot of this album is talking about characters that I think he meets in bars. How much of them are actually real, I don't know. And so how much of this is actually real, but he feels like a pretty honest dude on a lot of his other stuff as well. Yeah. And so I think, like, my guess is a lot of this is pretty autobiographical. And so we know he was never an artist who made a ton of money.
Right.
And so I think this is probably pretty realistic in some ways. I don't know if he ever spent time in jail, but he might have.
Yeah.
He has a song about, I'm pretty sure he has a song called Jail on Rocket and a Bomb when we did it. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that this, like I said, I think this song still has a lot of meaning today. And this is one of the songs I enjoyed kind of more on the album as far as still finding meaning in it.
Yeah, me too. There's a few on here that I think are kind of misfires as far as like the theme of the album. I think this fits okay. A lot of the songs are actually about other people and his experiences, but I think this still fits in with that pretty well.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to track 2, Mother Trucker.
You could just tell by the name, like, it's a little bit snarky.
Yeah.
And we heard the end of that song. Can we just, before I say anything else, just play this? Because I think it's just a nice follow-up from the end of that last one.
All right, remember the last one ended with feedback.
Can I be your stupid lucky mother? Can I be your pretentious mother trucker? Can I show you where to?
Yeah, so it just starts straight in, full band.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as fast as that last song, at least the last part of it, but it is loud, full chord rock. But then you kind of see the formula already, right? About 12 seconds in, it gets quiet, and it's just him singing over acoustic guitar. And I didn't realize how much of that was kind of a formula for this album till I was going back through and making these notes. It's like, oh, okay, he's doing it here. But it's fun, these loud, soft dynamics throughout. Yeah.
If he just changed that acoustic guitar to, get quiet, put a little chorus on there, he'd have some real Nirvana type stuff going on here. I enjoyed the intro. I called it on my notes. I called it rock and roll.
Yeah, it's just that's the only way to put it, right? It's just completely rock and roll, and it's fun. He's going to play through that verse a little bit, and then it'll get loud again. The band will come back in, and they have these nice background vocals. So they go beep beep woo, which I think is kind of fun since it's called Mother Trucker. Like, it's just some nice parts. So
we'll just keep going from here.
Where to drive and how? It cannot be your lucky mother trucker right now. Beep, beep, whoa. Beep, beep. Can I make all your insecure decisions? Can I steal all your cash from my religion? Or can I tell you what to do?
Yeah, and it's fun, and it's funny. This is one of those songs where actually the beep, beep, ooh, that's the chorus.
Yeah.
Which you don't realize until you start picking it apart, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, there's your chorus.
I like it. I think it fits that 90s kind of, everything's ironic. Kind of motif,
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. I don't know what other parts we want to play on it. The bridge is kind of fun.
Some dumb bums push sorry solution. Some dumb bums want the party's exclusion. Some of us ass too good's got a gun to his head. Drug to the jug and wants a vote again. Can I be your stupid lucky mother? Can I be your wealthy mother trucker? Can I show you where to drive and how? Can I be your lucky mother trucker right now? I love you.
That was actually a really nice segment because you get the bridge, which is fun, and then it cuts out just to him the acoustic guitar, which is really nice, I think, right there. And then as things come back in, you hear that bass like boom, like and stuff. It's just
And then,
It's really
and then
nice.
The lead guitar comes in with like on a chord where I'm like, once again, do a squeal, like just do something unexpected. I don't know.
We'll get squeals in some of the songs, but yeah.
We will, but you know.
I know. It is clear, and we know this because we know their history, but if you didn't, it's very clear these guys are good musicians. Like,
yeah.
talent is not a problem for this album.
But like the point of this album, and tell me if I'm wrong, is like this is his big chance for a break.
Yeah.
This is like, if Mike Knott is going to get famous and get on the radio, this is it. Right?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. They needed a different lead guitarist. He just wasn't. I mean, he's good, but he wasn't brave.
Okay.
I guess.
We
need to listen. Speaking of unexpected, we should listen to the rest of the song.
Okay, I was going to say, because this actually kind of has a little bit of an outro that's kind of fun and different too. So we'll play the rest and we'll talk about the lyrics. I have a habit these days now because I work from home, and my wife leaves for work earlier than I'm like getting ready. And so most mornings when I'm showering, don't worry, it's not going to be TMI. I have a big Bluetooth speaker that I bring in the bathroom, and I usually rock out while I'm showering because no one else is home except for my dog, and it's not bothering anybody. And this is an album that I will put on sometimes. And I feel like it's moments like that it's like you could just sing along. It's rocking. It's just like, it's fun, you know?
I agree. And like, I thought that part, everything there, the lead guitar, everything came together there at the end. That was really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So lyrically, if we're ready to talk about it, this one was one. Well, first of all, I couldn't fully understand everything he said until I looked at the lyrics, especially on that bridge we played.
The bridge was hard, yeah.
And then this is one that when I read the lyrics, I was actually a little like, like I maybe I've changed my mind about what the song is about.
Really?
So can I read them?
Can I read them this time?
Yeah, read them, please.
Okay. Can I be your stupid, lucky mother? Can I be your pretentious mother trucker? Can I show you where to drive and how? Hey, can I be your lucky mother trucker right now? Beep, beep, ooh. Can I make all your insecure decisions? And can I steal all your cash for my religion? And can I tell you what to think and how? Hey, can I be your lucky mother trucker right now? Some dumb bums pushing saline solution. Some dumb bums want a party's exclusion. Some overzealous do-goods got a gun to his head. Drug-dealing junkie wants the both of them dead. And the end part that we listen to there is, I love you, dumb. Yeah.
Okay. So some of these songs, I have a better sense of the meaning because of stuff I found online. All I could find for this was, according to a June 12th, 1997 post in the Christian Music News Group, like that's archived online, Jeff Elbel says, this is quote, Mike says, Mother Trucker is an anti-abortion song. Clifton, are you seeing that in this? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not.
I can get a lot of things from this song, and that is the thing I can't get from this song.
Okay, thank you. I was not getting that either. But that post was also about, this guy was kind of like, Mike says a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's all true. He basically said, there's another song we're going to talk about in a minute where it's pretty clear that the song is ending with a curse word, and Michael would always say that that's not what he was saying. And so it's more like, whatever audience he's talking to. But yeah, maybe we're wrong. Somebody correct us. I don't think this is an anti-abortion song.
No. This seems to be a song about taking advantage of people.
Yes. So,
okay.
Here's first verse. I don't know fully.
Yeah.
Second verse, though, I thought was a lot clearer, and I like the second verse a lot. And
the second verse is really good. Yeah.
That's when he says, "Can I make all your insecure decisions? Can I steal all your cash for my religion?" Which is what made me think like, oh, is this kind of about like religion? Can I tell you what to think and how?
Very
Can
cultish.
I be your lucky mother trucker right now? Like that, I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because my thought here was like, lucky mother trucker is just lucky motherfucker, right? And like, I think what he's saying here is like, there's some really lucky people out there who will do anything for money and like, kind of take advantage of people, right? That's what I was getting from this song, and he's just pointing out that like, that's why I love you dumb. Like if you're dumb, then I can take advantage of you in different ways. Like there's lots of grifters out there, and there's lots of avenues to grift,
I think I had not thought about that for that closing part of the song, but I think that's exactly right. Yeah. I love you dumb. Like you stay dumb. I love you. Cause it's like asking, can I be your mother trucker? Like, can I take advantage of you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the second verse to me seems clearly about religion. The first verse, I'm not sure who it's about. And then the bridge, though, where it was some dumb bums pushing saline solution, all that stuff, that seems more like in a bar trying to take advantage of people, like zooming down onto that level.
I was thinking more like alcohol industry, but yeah, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and not that it's totally clear here, and like this is all over the map, and it could be about almost anything, But that's what I took from the song. Yeah. But it's also, I think, just super tongue in cheek. I don't know that you're supposed to take the songs extremely seriously.
It's a fun song, and it's one that's definitely grown like over time for me. I've enjoyed this one more and more, and now that I've really dug into the lyrics, I'm like, oh, I really like this.
And this was a single, right?
No,
really.
I don't think so.
I think and maybe they released this back when they were Aunt Betty's Ford, but I think they released just this song as a single at some point.
Okay, well, if they did, then that was a good choice. I know that Skinny Bones Jones, which is the next song we're going to talk about, for sure was.
Okay.
And I think Jesus was maybe at one point too. But I think this would have been a good choice, honestly.
Agree. Yeah.
People would have thought, on the radio, people would have thought that was so funny, like Mother Trucker. I could just see so many people like, anyway.
Yeah, I have a hard time deciding, this song has, what's that? The Butthole Surfers. This song has Butthole Surfers energy to me.
Okay.
And the Butthole Surfers did make it onto the radio in the 90s,
Well,
no one took them seriously, but they did make it onto the radio.
It's funny you mentioned that, Clifton, because I looked this up. So this album came out in July 96. I found a Weekly Rock Top 30 for July 6th, 96. So close enough, right? Song number 1 is Standing Outside a Broken Phone Booth with Money in My Hands, that Primitive Radio God song. Like, or is that Butthole Surfers? One of the ones is like, I don't like the sun sometimes. That, I think that's Primitive Radio God. I might have it backwards. Song number 2, though, is Pepper by Butthole Surfers.
Okay, so that's the energy I was getting from this. Yeah.
Song number 3 at the time, Smashing Pumpkins. Number 4, Stone Temple Pilots. Number 5, Metallica. 6, Garbage. 7, Beck. So yeah, I think some of this could have fit right in that. Some of this, to me, like you said earlier, sounds a little older, a little more rock and roll, less alternative, but this song could have fit really well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. You wanted to say something about Star Baby?
Yeah, so y'all, there are 16 songs on this album. And actually, going back to what we were just talking about with that song, I think that is actually, I don't know if it's a problem, but I think a lot of these songs are really good. The problem is there's not one to me that rises above the others as like a standout single.
I agree.
Which is not...
Why are there 16 songs?
I don't know. I think there's a couple they should have left off that I even like, but I just don't think fit. I do think Star Baby fits on this album. It's just, we can't cover them all, y'all. This is already, I can see, going to be a long episode. We can't do them all. But I'm going to tell you, from Genius.com does have some annotations about this album. Not every song, but some of them.
Okay.
And I'll read you the one for Star Baby. So, quote, "The true story behind Star Baby is pretty much as it appears in the lyrics. A beautiful woman came into Mike Knott's bar in Hollywood, announced that she was the product of a sexual relationship between her human mother and a Martian, and then told him that she'd been commanded to kill a rock and roll singer. As Knott says, of course, everyone in the band pointed at me." So this also helps explain the cover of the album, because you've got some like UFOs and aliens kind of on the side of where the woman's smoking the cigarette. So yeah, that's Star Baby.
All right.
And as that is a good example of what we're going to see throughout this album, is like certain characters that he seems to encounter in bars around Hollywood, which is really fun, actually. Like, some of these songs are pretty fun for that. This next one is not one of those. Pretty much everyone can tell who he's talking about through these lyrics. This is not a mystery, but it is still, I think, a fun song lyrically. The next one we're going to do is Skinny Bones Jones, which I do know, like I said, that this was a single for the album. It got promoted with both a 7-inch and a CD single. And you're going to see kind of similar. It starts with distortion and then gets into some kind of distorted guitar strums. We get some woo-woo. We get some kind of background vocals, same type of stuff.
But I agree. I think the opening of this song is really fun, and it kind of has a similar tongue in cheek feel to Mother Trucker. You know?
Oh yeah, these are fun lyrics. I've even sang this song not thinking about who it's about, that we'll tell you in a minute, but thinking about like the gerontocracy that controls our government or other things.
Who's like I'm excited to learn. I'm excited.
Oh, it says it in the lyrics. It says it in the lyrics, Clifton.
Does it? Oh, that's it? Well, this is boring. Okay. Okay.
What's up with this band? It's been around forever. Played New York City before most of the world was born. Made it big, made it bigger, made it biggest. And it keeps on coming back, all tattered and torn. Skinny Bones Jones, Skinny Bones Jones. Do you have to sell your souls? Stay bigger than gold. The Skinny Bones Jones, the Skinny Bones Jones. Do you have to sell your soul to be Rolling Stones? There can be no generation gap.
Now this song, I'm asking you because I could be wrong on this, but it feels like the verse, it's just kind of that like guitar chords, right?
Mm.
I think the chorus is the same thing. It's just that they added this lead stuff in the background.
Near. Yeah, the chorus is just that. Yeah.
But like otherwise, they're playing the same thing, right?
Yep.
Like there's no real change. And I was like,
I think
that's interesting. We're just like, we're singing a little different and we got some lead, but we're still playing the same rhythm, the same kind of thing going. Okay.
Yeah. Look, the best bands make one chord progression last for the entire song and you don't know it.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing it here. In fact, in some ways, I think this song is a little musically maybe less interesting than some of the other songs, but I think lyrically he's doing some fun stuff here.
Yeah.
So.
And I think overall it has a nice different segments and that feel fun in different ways. And I think that's what makes the song work. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could hear it. There are some layers of background vocals. A lot of them to me sound like Mike in the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going on here.
Can I point out what's up with this band? It's been around forever. Like I did it wrong, but that's just like Mike not like bleeding out your ears kind of. I don't know.
Yeah. And this is one you can understand pretty much all the lyrics without
Yeah.
needing to look it up.
No, you do not need to look them up this first
Which is
one,
pretty fun. I don't know. What do we want to hear, Clifton? We want to play one of guitar solos? We want to play the bridge? What should we play?
Yeah, let's go to right before this guitar solo over here, about halfway through the second chorus.
The skinny bones Jones, the skinny bones Jones. Do you have to sell your souls to be a Rolling Stone?
I think that guitar solo, I have a note here called Wall Guitar Solo, but not horrible.
Okay, I was curious what you felt about that one. All right.
I also find that guitar solo to be, like the rest of the song, a little tongue-in-cheek, so it's fine.
Fair when with the subject matter of it.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I don't know if you guys caught that last line, but he said, you make more money in a minute than most men make in their lives off the jukebox alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, should we say what the song's about?
Is it about the Rolling Stones?
It's about the Rolling Stones.
Oh, man.
It's still kind of fun.
I thought it was like someone who was like the Rolling Stones. It's
No, he's done with the Rolling Stones, and this is 96, and those fuckers are still going.
Still going.
So, I mean, stayed pretty relevant.
I recently made a post on Facebook that says, every band that didn't write Wild Horses is better than the Rolling Stones. And I hold to that opinion. Which means that every band is better than the Rolling Stones, because Wild Horses fucking sucks. And this is around that time, wasn't it?
I don't even know. It's, too much with them. I mean, I think they still are a band, though, aren't they?
Yes.
They're still together. Holy shit, been active since 1962. Damn.
They've been lucky enough to not have people die.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. I'm just doing some like voodoo or something, like keep themselves alive. Well, shall we talk about the
It wasn't lack
lyrics?
of hard drugs.
It is amazing, right? There's some people who have these incredibly unhealthy lifestyles and they fucking live forever, and then they tell the rest of us like not to do X, Y, and Z. It's just come on.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the lyrics.
Okay, while we're doing that, you can cue up the next song. Which is number 7. But anyway, so I'll just read you them. It says, "What's up with this band? It's been around forever. Played New York City before most of the world was born. Made it big, made it bigger, made it biggest. Then it keeps on coming back, all tattered and torn." And the chorus is, "Skinny Bones Jones, Skinny Bone Jones, do you have to sell your souls to stay bigger than gold? Skinny Bones Jones, do you have to sell your souls to be the Rolling Stones?" And then this next part, I like this line. He says, "There can be no generation gap as long as you're alive. We'll die before you do," which sadly was true for him. "This history is shown. When your skin falls off, it won't bother you a bit. You'll have brand new hits. Skinny Bones Jones, do you have to sell, all that, the chorus." And then he says, "You make more money in a minute than most men make in their lives off the jukebox alone. And when you're tired of abusing, you get a blood transfusion and you're back up and grooving for another show." Yeah.
I think that hits on something there. The having more money than God really helps you have the best medical care in the world, so.
Fair. That is a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, they can afford it. So
it's almost like being rich is more healthy than being poor.
It's funny how that works, right?
Mm-hmm. Especially in the United States.
I know, right? It's like, why didn't the poor people just buy organic?
Yeah.
Right?
Come on, guys. Get someone else to make all your meals, make them healthy, and go to the doctor every other minute. It's fine.
Yeah, what's the problem?
Okay.
Well, we're going to skip the next two songs, but I did want to just tell you a little bit about what you're missing. So, song 5 is called Lush, but I'm going to read the Genius annotation for this one and also read you a few lyrics. So, from Genius.com, quote, Lush is based on a true story in which a friend of Mike Knott's took a beautiful woman covered with tattoos home from a bar. She took off her clothes, tied him to a chair, and whipped him mercilessly. Then she told him, I'm the Lush. And so from the song, I'm just going to read you the chorus. The chorus is, I'm the Lush. And he says, I'm the Lush, I'm the Lush. Drinking your disco, doing your go-go. So, clever way to say, blowjobs and stuff. So, yeah.
But let's be clear here. No kink shaming, but it does take consent. You don't just tie someone to a chair without their consent. That's the bad part of this story.
You just get the sense from these songs that he hung out in bars a lot, and I don't know what kind of bars these were, but got some really interesting stories.
You hang out in some white trash bars and there's gonna be stories. Okay?
Yeah, it just...
My family is full of people with anxiety disorders who don't acknowledge it because they're Christians and therefore they drink themselves to death. And there's a lot of stories, okay?
Okay, fair, yeah. We're also going to skip song number 6, Feel. But again, I'm going to share you the Genius annotation and a few lyrics. So from Genius.com, quote, the protagonist of Feel is a man whose wife has become a lesbian and who wants to stay with her badly enough to get a sex change operation. I'm going to just read you a few verses from the song. Verse 3, if that does the trick, I could wear lacy panties and your red lipstick. Here's verse 4. If that's what you like, I could be a bulldog, I could be a dyke. And verse 6, if that's what you want, I could cut it off, have a big wide. And Clifton, what word is he leaving off here? I'll read it again. If that's what you want, I could cut it off, have a big wide.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So anyway, there's some clever stuff going on in not vagina. Close. There's some clever stuff going on in the lyrics here. I totally missed that that's what this song was about back in the day because I think it would have shocked me to death. But anyway, you could see why this was not released, to the Christian market.
I am curious how, because even if, there's plenty of Christians who don't have problems with this kind of stuff, but I am curious how the knotheads, especially the ones who are Christians, deal with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a good question, right?
Are they Methodist or do they just pretend I don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to try to understand it, but I don't. So.
All right. Let's move on to track 7, Rocket and a Bomb.
So speaking of Christian market, this is the name of his solo album that came out in 94. It's a fantastic album. This is a self-titled, track off of it that is pretty reworked here. In fact, kind of like that other song, it's really just a chorus that he's kept and built out. I like the other version of the song too. I like this version a lot as well. This song kind of follows that Jesus formula from before. It's Mike singing it over an acoustic guitar. Just comes straight in with the vocals. And then about 15 seconds later, we get the full band.
All I ever wanted was a good job, some bus fare, a rocket and a bomb. Yeah.
Go ahead.
This part right here. I'm not saying it's bad guitar. I'm just going to say that, Aerosmith would do that.
You're probably right, and I fucking love it though. I gotta be honest. Like, I think just because I love this song in the first place, and when that comes in, I'm like, oh yeah, you got your lighter up in the air and stuff. I know it is not normally the type of music I like this, but I'm here for it in this song. In fact, I think this might be my favorite song on the album. Just for me, it just connects in the right way.
Yeah,
I'm just loving it.
All right.
But from that last part of the longer segment you played, you can hear it gets quiet again in the verses. And then we have this build up, kind of like a pre-chorus, where he says it keeps pushing and then kind of into the chorus again. So maybe like play around like 110.
I want to play the verse. So
all right, play the verse. Play the verse.
All, yeah.
Might be alright. Had a nightmare I'd be cracking up this cane. I lived your vision for a time till it snapped my spine and bled me from your vein. It keeps pushing. Job, some bus fare, a rocket and a bomb. Yeah. It's not your fault I made you from this open soul that still spies in your name. I tried to fix on what I feel.
I like the verses on this. I think they're kind of, for the 90s, for that period, they're the most modern sounding thing on here. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting because the chorus is softer than the verses on this song, so it's kind of flipped.
Yeah. I think it works. I like it, though.
Yeah, I do, too. We get pretty jammy towards the end of the song, which I kind of like. I don't normally like that, but again, like I said, I like this song. To me, this is like pinnacle Mike Knott, so I'm here for it, but I realize everyone might not be.
Should we listen to... I'm gonna say there's kind of a double chorus here. We're gonna go towards the end of the double chorus and listen to the rest of the song.
Okay, because this is a controversial part of the song. So
yes,
this
it is.
Good.
That's why I want to listen to it.
Was a good job, some bus fare, a rocket and a bomb. Yeah.
All right. Before we talk about the lyrics right there, that's controversial. Did you like the lead guitar at the end or no?
It's fine. I mean, like it's not interesting. Like it's fine, but it's not. It's just expected.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Yeah. I guess that's what I feel about it.
Okay. Well, lyrically, that last thing he says and repeats over and over there has been the subject of much speculation. And this is what I remember originally from back in the day, people being like, oh, he says shit at the end of the song.
So, like, there's a song about getting high. There's literally a song called Jesus about getting high. There's a song about a dominatrix. There's a song about becoming trans so that you can stay with your lesbian wife. And the controversy on this album is whether or not Mike says shit.
But doesn't that sound like, come on, that's so right for the mic, right? I mean, that is of course.
It's the best virtue signaling ever. That's just like, yeah.
Go
ahead.
No, I'm going to butcher this, but there's that famous quote by Tony Campolo that said something like, 5,000 kids died of starvation in Africa today, and you don't give a shit. Yeah. And then he says, like, and the fact that you're more upset by the fact that I said shit than them dying shows what the problem is or something. I'm butchering it, but that's the point.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's really funny, but that was the big thing. And so what's interesting is Mike supposedly had said at other times was saying shake there or shick there and not shit. And this was also discussed in that news group back from 97. However, Clifton, I did go back and I have a link to this in the show notes, but I went back. They've got all the demos posted on Bandcamp now, all the Aunt Betty demos kind of compiled as a compilation. If you listen to demo 3 of this song, it sounds so similar to this, it's hard to tell. Because I honestly cannot tell what he's saying in this. It doesn't sound 100% like shit. It doesn't sound 100% like shake. Yeah, let's isolate it and let's hear it, and then I'll tell you about what else I found.
Shit! 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 Shit!
Okay, that's more clear.
Yep.
I felt like it was hard to tell, but that was pretty clear. And if you listen to demo number 2 it's called like Rockin' a Bomb demo number 2 on their page, it's pretty clear at the end that it's shit at that point. Yeah.
I'll play that right here. I didn't listen to it, but you guys make up your mind. We report, you decide.
But I don't know. Let's talk about the lyrics, because again, he kind of changed this quite a bit from the original.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, all he kept was the chorus. I think this is
more poignant than the other version. But yeah, I'll read them here. All he ever wanted was a good job, some bus fare, a rocket, and a bomb. Had a dream I'd be all right. Had a nightmare I'd be cracking up this cane. I lit your vision for a time, till it snapped my spine and bled me from your vein. It keeps pushing you away. It's not your fault I made you ill from this open sore that spills pus in your name. I tried to fix on what I feel, but you know that feeling shame. You're right again.
Yeah, and I think that one of those last lines you read, but you know that feeling, shame. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of what this whole song is about shame.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about failing, yeah.
I kind of feel like, and this is probably my goddamn mindset that I feel like I can never escape, I feel like he's maybe talking to God in this.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm not crazy. Or maybe it's just both of us because of how we were raised. I don't know.
But it's really this line. It's not your fault I made you ill from this open sore that spills pus in your name.
Right.
Yeah. That's the one that really says to me this is talking to God.
Yeah, and even the first line, had a dream I'd be all right, had a nightmare I'd be cracking up this cane. By the way, cane is spelled with like an apostrophe C-A-I-N-E. So clearly it's cocaine.
Yeah.
I lit your vision for a time till
Which
it
is a
snapped
great
my
line,
spine
by the way. That's a
and bled me
great
from your
line.
vein. Yeah. In fact, this is the Mike Knott I love the most when he's fucking honest about this stuff.
Yeah.
This song is very close to Jesus at the beginning, like that first song. Like, it's very similar theme. I think it still fits really well with this album, even though some of the other songs are funnier and talking about like people they're meeting at bars, because it's just like clear as the narrator, he's not doing great either.
You know, I think this song can easily be on, and I mean, it obviously is, but I'm saying even ideally, this song can easily be on the same song as Mother Trucker, you know, same album as Mother Trucker, you know? I think it's part of that turn, right? If this is about, you know, that kind of the repercussions of the lifestyle, you know, this is part of that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, sadly, that feeling of shame is, well, one of the biggest that you experience in this form of Christianity, unfortunately. And so I hate that, like, I hate that he was feeling that all the time. Not that I'm advocating for his lifestyle either necessarily, but like,
and it's, you know, and shame is a big part of the addiction cycle, you know, and it's completely understandable to me because, you know, it's when you mess up, you can't change that, right? So you have to live forever with the repercussions of having fucked up, you know? So when you are raised in this kind of shame, you know, where I don't know how to explain it. I mean, people who lived it, you know what it is, but you know, especially like I don't know what churches Mike Knott, you know, grew up in, but I think he went to those same kind of Southern Baptist style churches that we were going to, you know. And there is a lot of shame in those. And, you know, like there's literally sermons on like, you killed Jesus, you know?
Yeah.
But even beyond that, it's just like, but it's also not only did you kill Jesus, it's your job to shine Jesus into the world. Well, what happens when I'm a human being? You know?
Yeah. And like, in the long run, making people feel bad for that stuff's not actually get you, or even making yourself feel bad, which is more this song, that actually doesn't get you where you want to be. You know, like heaping shame on yourself and saying, oh, I'll do better. Like that actually doesn't get you there.
Jay, I'm going to introduce a thought here, which is, you know, the philosophical idea that the purpose of a system is what it does.
Say more.
If the system shames people, maybe the purpose of the system is to shame people, because maybe it's about control of those people and not about getting them closer to God.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This is going to seem weird and may not connect to anybody, but in my brain it makes sense. So I do meditation. I try to every day, like mindfulness, and all it really means is like sitting and trying to like be in touch with your body. And I mean just like knowing that you're breathing, feeling your butt on the chair, your feet on the floor, like trying to get out of your head essentially, and being in the moment versus way up in your head, which I have a bad problem with doing. And I listen to a lot of these guided meditations, and it's so funny because it's most of it's from like the Buddhist tradition, and the teacher is always just like, if you find yourself thinking, that's actually great, because it means you're aware and you just go back to trying to feel. Like, instead of making yourself feel bad, like, oh, I can't meditate, they just flip it on its head, and it's like, no, you realize you're doing it every time. And I just think that's so beautiful. Instead of like shaming people or making them feel bad because they're not doing it the right way or not doing the right thing, it's just like, no. Now, from this moment, start over and move forward. And so I wish we had more of that here, of just like, and I think honestly that is what Jesus showed. It's just like, chill, like move forward. Yeah, you messed up in the past. You probably did some stuff that was harmful to you and other people, but like today's a new day rather than like, oh, I'm so bad, I'm going to do better, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's an interesting thought. I mean, the story of, for example, of the, the woman caught in adultery, I think it's in John, but really wasn't in there in the original version. It's added later, a couple centuries later, probably, where it ends with "Go and sin no more," But that's not actually the only time he says that. I think he says that to people after he's healed them as well. Can't place it at the moment, but it's an interesting idea because, yeah, in the shame kind of culture that we were raised in, I always took "go and sin no more" as you're fucked up every time you do sin, though. But that's not what Jesus says there. He just says "go and sin no more."
It's funny
so
how
you're right.
You can be programmed to completely see that the wrong way, right?
The exact opposite way, which is something that, like, just as someone who finds religions interesting and I study them, every time I study Christianity, I come back to, holy shit, this is somehow I was taught this exactly backwards.
Yeah, I know. It's incredibly frustrating. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, it really becomes frustrating when you're trying to talk to people who are still Christian, and they're like, "Nope, it's not what it says," and you're trying to lead me down a dark road. That's you have cobblestone tied to your neck, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right.
Well, we're gonna skip some more songs.
Well, I wanted to talk about "Addict."
Oh, okay, good.
Just because this is actually where I was originally going to talk about the guitar, but we'll kind of leave that part out. I just want to talk about it being a fun punk song.
Yeah, and this one is pretty self-explanatory, even by the title of what it's about. It does. I have one line in here I want to read, Clifton, but should I do that before or after you play it?
Yeah, I'll play a little bit here, and then you can do the line. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to play the beginning here, so everyone can hear it, and because this is a weird divergence on the album that happens a few times.
Penny got me hooked on giving up all of my money. Maggie got me hooked on buying just one more. Yeah. Penny got me hooked. Penny got me hooked. Penny got me hooked. Maggie got me hooked. Maggie got me hooked. Maggie got me hooked. Penny got me hooked on porcelain and headaches for breakfast.
That's the line you want to talk about.
Yeah, Penny got me hooked on porcelain and headache for breakfast. Maggie got me hooked on Barbie. Barbie tried to get me hooked on Ken. I just thought that was fun. A fun lyric. So, yeah. Yeah, you're right, though. It's kind of a more punky vibe.
I mean, it's just Ramones. Like, it's wonderful, fun Ramones,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of just an outlier on the album. I mean, there's two maybe kind of... We're going to go into like some other proto-punk type songs on here in a second. But yeah, it's kind of nowhere, and what I really like about it is it's like, I don't know, it's just fun. I think the guitar on here is mostly successful, but I'll go ahead and play the solo here that annoys me. It's not the worst, but it's just like, okay, well, what did that add to the song? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm here for it.
All right. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks this. That's fine. I'll stand alone on this hill.
So we'll go to the next song too, Speeder Mode. This is one I wanted to do, but in the interest of everything, I thought, okay, I'm going to cut it. But I just say a couple things about it. It's a fun song. It starts with Mike again singing over acoustic guitar. It gets louder as it goes. It has a really fun hey nah, hey nah, hey nah, hey nah part that I really like. But lyrically, in keeping with the theme of the album, it's about a girl at the bar who's doing speed. And the first few lines are heading for the bathroom door to kick it up a little more. She loves to move fast. So yeah,
it's a good song. It's also kind of a punk song. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one. The song after that,
I was listening to this on while I was driving around a couple of days ago, and like Google popped up the whole like cop in the vicinity type thing, you know. And when I looked over at my heads up display, like it popped up cop in the vicinity, and I also saw out of the corner of my eye speeder mode. I'm like, why would I be in speeder mode when there's a cop? Wait, what?
Oh, I thought you were like, oh, put it into speeder mode. Fuck yeah. Like, yeah. It's a fun one. Yeah. The next song is Kitty Courtesy, which is a song off Rocket and a Bomb, his solo album. And it's honestly really similar to the original. This one, he does not change much, just kind of electrifies it more. If you haven't heard that album, it's about a woman in Mike's old apartment building from years before who was possibly cooking her husband because her apartment smells really bad. It is a fun song, but I'm going to say this is one I'm not sure works here. I'm curious what you think. Just thematically, I think it's weird.
But besides thematically, I also don't think it musically works. I think this album is mostly pretty fun, and I just think there's a feel to this song that's just off for the album.
Okay. Yeah, so I would have left that one off, even though I really like that song. I just don't think it fits here. Song number 11, Little Fighter. This is one I'm annoyed because I couldn't find more. It's either about a prostitute or a female boxer. If you look at the artwork on the album, there's a female boxer, but one of her arms is like a chainsaw or something. So I think it's about a boxer, maybe. This is the only song I'm not super clear on what it's about. But anyway, we're not doing that one either. But it's kind of fun.
Maybe it's like a wrestling thing. You know, like how wrestlers always have a theme. You know, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it's not entirely clear, but we're skipping it too. But we are playing the next song number 12, Suicide Sex Doll, which is actually a really short song, but it's like 2 minutes, 9 seconds. But I just think it's really fun. It starts pretty similar to Mother Trucker, a couple snare hits, and then straight into the song.
I met a man who had no shoes. He slumped at the bar and twos and booze. He mumbled that he fought in the war. He said that he'd love to kill some more. Hey old man, it's time to go. Someone yelled, he's drunk, you know. He said, I don't love you at all. I'm going home to my suicide sex doll.
So musically, a couple things I like right here. I like how the snare kind of mimics the way they're playing those guitar chords. And then when his vocals come in, he does that with his vocal delivery too. I met a man who had no shoes, you know, that kind of thing. So that's kind of fun, something different that we're seeing on here.
And it kind of gives me like a proto-punk Lou Reed kind of feel to it. But a little more modern, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and the lyrics are great. We'll talk about it in a second, but like they're really fun. You've heard it probably when we're playing, but it's pretty entertaining.
He said sometimes she falls on knives. He said she's got a lot of lives. He said I don't need girls at all. I'm going home to my suicide sex doll.
I like the understated lead guitar there, by the way. I think that's really well done.
Yeah, kind of like acoustic, right?
Yeah.
Sex doll in the background. This one is pretty fun. Yeah, it's just a fun song. It's short, but it's got high energy. Yes. I like it. It's one of my favorites actually on here.
I think it's a really, really good song that could have been a great song, Jay.
What's it missing?
it needs a third verse where something calamitous happens. Because then I'm getting like Kinks energy out of it, like a Lola type thing, where like, okay, he's going home to a suicide sex doll, but maybe the sex doll fights back eventually.
Oh, okay.
Something.
So
I don't know.
Because it feels like Mike just leaves it when the guy leaves the bar, but Mike should just like made up like a third part of something that happens.
Like the guy could have come back and like he's bruised now,
Oh, that would have been good. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Somebody should cover this and add in a third one. That'd be good. Yeah.
All right, let's do the lyrics here so people can know what we're talking about.
All right, I'll read them.
Okay.
I feel like it's my turn. He says, I met a man who had no shoes. He slumped at the bar into his booze, mumbled that he fought in the war. He said that he'd love to kill some more. Hey, old man, it's time to go. Someone yelled, he's drunk, He said, I don't love you at all. I'm going home to my suicide sex doll, which when you think about that scene is really funny. I fought in the war. I'd really love to kill some more. And you could just tell everybody's like, he's cut off. And somebody's like, he's drunk. And then he's like, whatever. I don't love you at all. I'm going home to my suicide sex doll. Like, it's pretty funny. And then verse 2 is, he said, sometimes she falls on knives. He said, she's got a lot of lives. He said, I don't need girls at all. I'm going home to my suicide sex doll. And then the rest of the song is just the chorus, suicide sex doll. And then you heard the bridge. Sex doll. Sometimes she falls on knives. Clifton, have you ever fallen on a knife?
He's abusing his sex doll, right? And so that's why you need the third verse where he comes back and he's bruised, right?
Yeah.
That's...
I think the song is great. It's very funny. Yeah, it's catchy and it's short. It definitely kind of leaves you wanting more, but it's a good one.
And I think, by the way, my pitch for that third verse is it happens at the end and then boom, it's just gone. So it still leaves you wanting more.
Okay, I like that.
It's just like it's still it only lasts like 15 seconds of the song, but then just like boom, gone. Yeah.
I agree. All right, fair. Somebody should have told him that. That's
Yeah, well, he took creative control and didn't have to answer to anybody, and maybe that was a good decision artistically, but maybe it wasn't a good decision. Whatever they said in the thing you were reading.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good point with this album. Is like if he'd had an outside producer. Again, the album sounds great. That's not the problem, but you just wonder if somebody could have like tightened a few things or maybe improved a few things in the songs, like.
Yeah,
but he also maybe owed
and
Jeannie
limited
money.
it to 12 songs.
Yeah, it's
make 12 songs, make the ones that you're sticking with better and more, congealed together. That's it.
Yeah. We're gonna play in a second a song called Jane, and we're not covering this one. I did want to play the very beginning of it because I think. Well, it's got a nice beginning, and I also just think the lyrics are pretty funny. Also, at the beginning, I think it's about a woman, a friend of theirs, who is probably like schizophrenic, maybe, and it seems like she eventually commits suicide, which is pretty sad. I think this one still works on the album thematically, but we're getting a little more serious here, which is okay. But I do love the beginning, the way that she's introduced. And when she talks about her imaginary friend here, I think it's kind of another pretty funny, clever line. Fade in here.
Jane's gone crazy again. She said everyone needs a make-believe friend. We just laughed and said, is his name Tarzan? She said, no, it's Joe, and he's my friend.
Okay, I just love that line. Is his name Tarzan? No, it's Joe, and he's my friend. So, anyway.
That feels very, very Ray. What's his name? Ray Davies kind of. Some of his solo work was that kind of stuff.
Who's Ray Davies?
From the Kinks.
Oh, thank you. we're going to skip song 14, Cruel, but it is about a woman who is cruel. And I'll read you another lyric that I like off this one. It says, none of her friends want anything to do with her wicked ways. Maybe got a couple dates now and then after they pick up her has-beens. She turned a friend of mine gay, which is also maybe not would be a lyric today. But anyway, there we go. We're skipping song 15, Double. This song, pretty much exactly as it appears here, was on Mike Knott's, on LSU's 1994 album, Grace Shaker. I'm pretty sure it's the first song. I love this song, but I don't think it fits here. I think it's a great song. I think it's super honest. It's another one of those dealing with the shame type things. I really like it, but I don't think it fits with Aunt Betty's. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
I think it was just one of those this is one of his top songs. We're going to stick it on here, but
which is not. I understand the instinct, but it's the wrong instinct. I think.
Yeah. But it's a great song. I hope we'll cover that Grace Shaker album at some point, and I will rave about it then. But it is a very good song. So anyway, on its own, it just kind of doesn't fit weird.
Yeah.
However, this last song, Rock and Roll, I think does really fit with the album. It's a pretty fun song. Also another one that's pretty short. But I think it's a great way to kind of close out the album. It's the same formula: acoustic guitar strumming, Mike singing to start. So let's play the first part.
I've got my racing stripe. You've got your OJ knife. Come on, baby, let's rock and roll. How come you're throwing the punch? Come on, baby, let's rock and roll.
You could probably hear similar type pattern, right?
Yeah.
You've got the acoustic, then going into electric, then backing off for the verse. Kind of really wailing with that lead guitar, so I don't know if you like that or not, Clifton.
I liked it.
Okay.
I called this one cowboy/white trash punk.
I also like vocally hear how he's like, come on, baby. Yeah. Like he really strains certain words on this. Yeah. It's kind of fun.
It's like if Pete Seeger wrote a punk album, this is what would happen.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, yeah. I just it's a fun song to close out on. It feels like a good ending song with the vibe on it, and it's just I like it.
Let's go to verse 3.
We could heal the pain. Together we could end it all. Driving 85 into a wall. You got your PMS. I got under arrest. Come on, baby. Let's rock and roll. I blacked out in recurrence, but you own my life insurance. Come on, baby, let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Got my racing stripe. You've got your OJ knife. Come on, baby, let's rock and roll.
I think it's a nice way to end the album, right there.
You want my hot take?
Do it.
It's not only the nice way to end the album. This should have been a single. This would have gotten radio play.
Yeah, I know. the choices with the singles on this album, and they're not like completely wrong.
They're not wrong.
But there's some that I think could have done better.
Yeah, like, tell me you can't hear this on the radio in 1995.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, just tell me that's not a thing, and you're wrong. Yeah, I mean, sorry.
No, I think, and especially like the OJ knife reference and stuff, people would have loved that. It's same kind of like with Mother Trucker. There's just these phrases you could hear people saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, I wish he'd chosen 10 to 12 songs, made them feel more just, tied in together, acoustic, like sonically. I think it's a great sonically sounding album, like you said. But, it's just a little bit more sonically together, and then taking some of these funny songs just a tad more seriously and release them as singles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll give my overall thoughts. Let me talk about the lyrics on this song, and then we'll finish up.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lyrics.
I can read them. He says, I've got my racing stripe. You've got your OJ knife. Come on, baby. Let's rock and roll. If I'm the one that drinks too much, how come you're throwing the punch? Come on, baby. Let's rock and roll. And then I guess the bridge, the middle part of the song is, together we could save the world. Together we could heal the pain. Together we could end it all, driving 85 into a wall. You've got your PMS, which is a real lazy line, but I got under arrest.
Those two
Come on,
together
baby,
are kind of
let's
funny.
rock and roll. This next one's good too. I black out in recurrence, but you own my life insurance. Come on, baby, let's rock and roll. Hey nah, hey nah, hey nah. And then he just repeats the OJ knife racing stripe part again.
Yeah.
I kind of, it's bleak, but I think it's like his sense of humor, but also some of the pain in his life. I like when he's like, together we could save the world, together we could heal the pain. You're like, yeah, and he's like, together we could end it all, drive at 85 into a wall. And it's like, yeah, okay.
This is the kind of tongue-in-cheek, irony everywhere, let's kill ourselves energy that the mid-90s were about.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. You're right. This could have been a really good single.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really like this album. In fact, I think it grew on me even more having to do it for this episode and really digging into it.
Yeah.
But I also am a Mike Knott fan. And that's the thing. I feel like if you like Mike Knott, you probably love this album. Because to me, it's like bigger budget, more time in the studio, everything's amped up. We also don't have the confines of like it needing to be for the Christian market. Like, I think it's really, really fun. However, I say all that, if you're not a Mike Knott fan, or if this is your first introduction to them completely, I don't know if it's enough to win people over to like, they're your new favorite band or anything.
I think depending on where you're coming from, I think there's a few different inroads on this album that can hook you. You got the, I think that you got this white trash punk thing. You got the Ray Davies thing. You got the Lou Reed thing. You got the Jesus song at the beginning. I think there's a bunch of different approaches on this album that do come together. Like, I'm not a huge Mike Knott fan, and there's some things that he does that really annoy me, but it still works on this album.
Okay. Yeah.
I just wish he'd focused a little bit more on 10 to 12 songs.
Yeah, I mean, fair. What did you think of like the cover art packaging stuff?
I thought it was amazing. Like, there's not one square inch of wasted space.
Yeah, the cover artwork is pretty fun. And like I said, now that I took more time to kind of go back through it and compare it with the songs, like there's pretty much, I think they might have missed one or two. There's pretty much some artwork, like original artwork for each song on this album through it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
So this is one part that I really like, which is it's actually just a typical like painting of Jesus as a saint, with the halo behind him, but also the cross overlaid. But he's behind a bar.
Yes.
And he's holding a bottle of whiskey or something that he's about to pour, and the guy in front of him is passed out. But it has this very like confessional kind of feel. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot
asking the bartender
too.
for penance,
I'm sure it was seen as blasphemous by some, but I really like it. Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Like it's I don't know. I understand if you think it's blasphemous, but I think you're wrong. And I think you need to grow up and understand what's going on right here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun. So you've got one side that's all color kind of coming off the front cover and, folding out. And then the other part is black and white on the inside, but still similar fun kind of drawings and stuff.
Yeah. It's fivefold. No lyrics. And I guess in place of lyrics, we get just, the drawings and whatnot of the songs,
Yeah, and then just one page with thank yous, and that's it.
Yep. The CD itself has kind of like a rockabilly kind of flame encircling the middle of the CD.
Yeah.
In the back of it, you get Mike Knott and his fellow musicians. His fellow musicians all have like bleach blonde tips, and mid-90s whatnot. And Mike looks straight out of the 70s like he often looked.
Yeah, and there's some spaceships like added in, flying like 50s looking like flying saucers.
Flying saucer, yeah.
Added around them.
Chromed out, yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun album. I like it a lot. And again, if you're a Mike Knott fan, I feel like... Actually, I'm curious to know, and please y'all write in, like, the really big Mike Knott fans out there, where does this fall for you? Like, for me, it's probably my favorite. But I know there are bigger Mike Knott fans out there than me, so curious like where this falls in for all of you. Shall I tell you what happened to the Aunt Betty's after that?
Let's do that, yeah.
Yeah, so despite a decent review in the LA Times, which I have a link to, it's still archived, it got 3 stars, and I'll just read you a quote from the LA Times review. Andrew Carter's lead guitar provides a Mick Ronson-like sobbing warmth to go with its slicing bite. That sonic duality helps bring out the song's thematic subtext as Aunt Betty's find the common humanity in people whose failings polite society would deem unspeakable, which I actually thought was a really nice way to sum it up. I thought, wow, this guy spent some time really thought about this. Also, they got the song Feel on some movie called Boogie Boy on the soundtrack. It was a movie that starred Frederick Forrest, Joan Jett, and former porn star Tracy Lords. So there's that. And then I'm going to read you from the Multibiome article again, because they do a good job of summing it up. So, quote, the Aunt Betty's debut immediately flopped. AllMusic gave the record 2.5 out of 5, but didn't write a review. Not negotiated a release from their 2-record contract that can be assumed paid off their debts and left them with some cash. Not wondered, and this is not speaking, quote, would Elektra have done another album? It's hard to tell because they didn't do so much with the first album. We actually negotiated out of our contract. We did so because there were lots of labels still into us. Island, Revolution, Silvertone, and a few others all talked to us, but only one label, a BMG joint venture, put down an offer. It was nowhere near what the Elektra deal was, but it wasn't like we actually got what Elektra promised us either. We sat on the new offer for a while as we made the rounds with different labels. Ultimately, I wanted to go with it, but the rest of the band wanted to quit, sadly. And then Deutsch later told the story of the Bettys as he experienced it. And this is also from that article on Multibiome. I was never really sure what all the circumstances were about why we left the label because I was really a little too out of it most of the time to know or even care. I just remember playing some shows, and then I don't remember playing some shows. I think I probably played most of the last Aunt Betty shows in a blackout. So the band was in the process of leaving that label, and Mike decided it was probably time for us to part ways, which was understandable considering what a mess I was in. So sadly, this is all we get. There was something put out later called Aunt Betty's Ford Supersonic that was kind of like a collection of demos and other odds and ends that was kind of like their second album, but not, an official one done like this. So that was Aunt Betty's.
I don't know. The music world is a hard world, and you need to do something to stand out. And I think this is good songwriting. I'm gonna put it back on the lead guitarist, thinking that he needed to take some more chances.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they could have, like I said, cut a few songs, changed a few things. I also think though the label could have promoted it more. And
Probably
I think,
so.
sometimes you do wonder why certain songs get picked as singles. Sometimes it's clear. Sometimes it's like, okay, that's the single. Other times, like this album, where you're like, why did they choose those? I would have picked some different ones. So who knows? The mid-90s is like a weird time. I mean, we talked about Butthole Surfers getting big. Like, it's weird what stuff sometimes broke through and what stuff didn't.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Could have, if it had been a year earlier or a year later, it could have been completely different, But, yeah. Well, do you have an award for this album, Jay?
I do. And this is selfishly just my award, but I'm going to call it the Mike Knott Pinnacle Award, because for me, this is kind of like the pinnacle of everything he did. And I know already there's people out there like, what? Oh my God, he's ignoring blah, 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 blah. You're probably right. But as far as like straight rock and roll that sounds good, I really like this and think it's hard to beat.
Yeah. Cool. I will say, like, that the last song, the White Trash, punk song, rock and roll, I'm probably gonna add that to my to some playlists that I
good, yeah.
To,
If nothing else, this was not a pain to listen to.
No,
unlike Big Tent Revival, where I'm like, oh fuck, I have to do this again, or some of the other albums that I've even chosen for this, where I'm like, oh god, not again. This at least was like not painful, to listen to.
All right, Jay, what are we doing on the next episode?
Clifton, that's a great question. Well, there may be a special guest next time, depending on the order we get this recorded. But if not, we will be doing Fan Mail's The Latest Craze.
Cool. This is probably one of the last like albums I listened to when I was listening to Christian music.
Mm-hmm.
Not the last, but one of the last albums. Like it came out this summer before university.
Yeah, I feel like there were a few for me too that kind of carried over, but it was like got to college, didn't have to please mom and dad, could listen
big
to a lot of
world.
other music.
Yep.
Big new world. So suddenly a lot of the stuff got left behind.
Yep. All right, sounds fun.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Music Saved Us.
If you enjoyed your time with us, please leave us a review or share this episode. Visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute and get extended episodes. Visit our website, yourmusicsavedus.com, to find out all the ways to listen. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Join our Facebook group or follow us to keep up with the latest or interact with us. Send complaints and disagreements to yourmusicsavedus@gmail.com.
The music in this episode is the work of Aunt Betty's and is used with apologies, not permission. Exciting news about the Aunt Betty's, by the way. Boston, Ohio is re-releasing this album on vinyl. As of the date we're recording this, they just met the project goal on Kickstarter, so it is for sure happening. They even have some like bonus stuff that's starting to happen. When this comes out, it will be the absolute last day for the Kickstarter. So if you happen to hear this the day this podcast is released, jump online, jump on the Kickstarter. You can get this on vinyl. They've got t-shirts. They've got other stuff as well. I will also say that the Aunt Betty's have some music on Bandcamp as well. If you go to blondevinyl.bandcamp.com, they've got tons of Mike Knott stuff, but they've also got some of Aunt Betty's demos and things on there, as well as that Ford Supersonic album. So, and a live album. So lots of stuff for you to buy and support out there.
Very cool. All right, well, thank y'all. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.